his gay sticker on, and he's saying Donald Trump doesn't like gays or black people and wants to ship blacks to Africa. If you're a TV viewer, it's on screen. Donald Trump was giving interviews to the Advocate and gay publications and calling for equal rights for people 30 years ago. Donald Trump is trying to stop gays being thrown off cliffs. Hillary takes money from the very people that do it and is launching invasions for them. But it doesn't matter because this idiot, this Arrested Development giant fat toddler, nothing against fat people, I've been fat too. Not all fat people, fat people are smarter than anybody I know, but I'm saying this stereotype, it's a fat toddler baby going, nah, 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 nah. I want something. You're not going to get anything from the robber barons. Anything they give you is poison. This guy's a moron. God, I'm sick of these. Excuse me, Lord. Okay, I'm going to your calls. I'm doing better here. I'm going to your calls. Who's been holding the longest now? Riddle me this. James, and then we'll go to others. James in Texas was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Where are you now?
I'm in Texas, sir.
No, I'm saying, where are you? Who are you supporting now?
Oh, Donald Trump.
So you really are a Bernie supporter, and you really are supporting Trump now?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that makes a lot more sense to me. I mean, she stole your vote. I mean, so give me your perspective.
Well, I started to see like what the DNC was doing, and yeah, they did steal all the Bernie Sanders votes. In my mind, like it was completely rigged. And I was on the train for so long where the media, like I was watching the news at the time, and the media kept playing bits and sound clips of Donald Trump and saying, oh, he's a racist, and I was like, oh, man, this guy's a maniac. But then after I started noticing that they were stealing the election, I went and started watching full Donald Trump speeches, and I started to realize, I was like, he's not a racist at all.
No, his trade speech was one of the most greatest speeches ever given about a presidential candidate. It's just beautiful. I mean, it was a declaration that we're getting up off our knees. The surrender is over. I'm sick of watching this country surrender.
Exactly. And then, like, my biggest problem here lately has been Bernie Sanders' surrender to Hillary Clinton.
Oh, makes me sick.
I don't think a lot of people understand the utter devastation that caused to so many young people and young voters.
That's what she's all about. It's what she's all about. She's the most fascistic, corporate wickedness. She's not even a socialist. The plan they cooked up with Obama with Mitt Romney is a screw job for insurance companies to rob everyone. I mean,
Bernie Sanders to me is lower than Hillary Clinton because of what he did to young voters. Like I myself, I'm 30, but to disillusion that many people at such a young age, I think was one of the most damaging things that any potential or any politician, period, has ever done to a younger generation of Americans.
Absolutely. God bless you. I appreciate your call. And look, I don't like Sanders the person because I know he's a fake and a fraud, and I know, but a lot of what he stood for on the surface, NAFTA and GATT being a scam, big rich families being partially tax exempt, insider deals. Yeah, if you're going to let them have corporate socialism, then give it to the people. Listen, if you're going to have QE unlimited, deliver the money to the grassroots. Look, if we're going to just print money, it's going to cause a problem down the road, but we can actually build some infrastructure. I'm not saying do that, but it's much more moral than letting the globalists have it all and then saddle us with the debt. Deliver money directly to poor people. Boom. Some of them are going to go drink themselves to death. Others people can actually, help build themselves up. But that's not how economics works. And you got to take it from somebody else. And you're going to take it from is yourself a few years down the road and your kids, because that money's going to be devalued, which is the same thing. Everything comes back on you. And so all I know is everything's teetering on the edge of collapse. All the elites are building, bunkers and trauma rooms and helicopter escape pads. I mean, it's crazy. And by the way, when I get around rich people and stuff, and I mean really rich people, they are like asking me what to do. They're not, there's no more debating, okay? You notice everything we talk about now is pretty much just almost passé, right? That means victory for InfoWars if we act on it. There is no doubt that Hillary is evil and will want to make you poor. I don't completely trust Trump, okay? I'm not stupid. But the things he's saying are irrevocably damaging to the New World Order. And physiologically, psychically, culturally, that's all money in the bank for Trump. I mean, I'll just say it. I'm emotional once I've made my cold decisions about things. But I get a warm feeling in my chest when I think about what Donald Trump's doing. And I've never had that for Ron Paul or anybody else. I've admired Ron Paul, appreciate him, all the rest of it. I don't have an actual emotional feeling, and I'll tell you why it is. I know how much danger Donald Trump's in. And I can tell you he's for real. Here's the problem. JFK was for real. They came to him with a plan, L.L. Lemnitzer, Curtis LeMay, to sneak attack with hydrogen bombs Russia. And he fired them and freaked out. And then they had another plan. The deep state came in with a socialist plan that was already there, going, oh, let's merge with Russia and bring in all this stuff. And then he did stuff like, well, I'm going to abolish the Federal Reserve. I'm going to cut taxes. He was doing all sorts of stuff he thought was good, but he was being misguided. I mean, just because Trump's a good guy and really smart doesn't mean he isn't going to get misguided or have weird stuff go on. Look, we're not out of the park. I mean, we're not out of the woods here. We're not out of Mordor here. We get Donald Trump elected. It's the resistance. It's the struggle. It's the trying to do something. It's the seeing somebody who I know they're afraid of. Man, let me tell you, that's not a put on. They are scared of Donald Trump. And he has been like a sleeper cell for decades against them. But really, he was always against NAFTA and GATT. He wrote books about how they're screwing America over. He isn't out to get the country. That's it. Now, he could be bad. I couldn't imagine if I was president, even though I know a lot of things. I can't imagine. It's such a crazy world. And you do one thing, you think it's going to do something, it does something completely different. It just takes a lot of wisdom. I just know this, folks. We can ask for your support. We can ask for you to spread the word because we're having huge effects. I mean, this is the place that has the biggest bang for the buck when it comes to spreading the word. But bigger than that, I just ask you to pray for the broadcast. Pray for us next week in Cleveland and our crew going on to Philadelphia. David and the rest of the crew after that. That's going to be a circus. And to pray for your own self and your own family. And even if you're not a Christian or religious, I think if you just open yourself up to the universe and God, because God's free will, and just say, God, you know, can you help me with discernment? Can you help me? God isn't like the devil. The devil blows the doors off like Darth Vader and comes in, you know. God, you got to ask God in. That's how God judges countries, too. God just pulls back and lets the evil come in. The truth is God didn't do any of it. He did all of it, but none of it. You understand how that works? Kind of a Zen thought, isn't it? We'll be back with your calls straight ahead. I'm Alex Jones.
Largely, Hillary Clinton's comments here today, John, were based around the recent violence that we have seen, the police-involved shootings of black men in Minnesota, in Louisiana, and then the killing of white police officers by a black gunman in Dallas. That was really what she based her comments on around today. And remember, Hillary Clinton has some vulnerabilities herself, even as she calls for criminal justice reform because of her support in the 1990s for anti-crime legislation that ultimately help contribute to this era of mass incarceration that she now speaks out again.
We just lost Breonna Keeler, who was in Springfield, Illinois, where Hillary Clinton just spoke. You heard.
By the way, I want to hire Breonna Keeler. I want to hire her. She gets up there. Look, the Clintons are the ones that got the laws changed and then made incredibly racist statements. I mean, everybody understands the numbers, right? Because it makes me sick when I go on InfoWars. And I see it everywhere. And a lot of it's bots with all the racist comments towards black people. And because you got the racist black people, they're racist bots, and they're making the, white devil statements back. You do know that despite the fact that Africans were forcibly brought here, and all the things that went on and happened, some cases just as horrible as you see in the movies, sometimes totally different stories. The point is, it was much more diverse than that. You do understand that they ended up building a lot of industries and businesses and science and culture and art when they were being oppressed. That's how it works. Adversity makes men prosperity makes monsters, as the French historian and politician scholar Victor Hugo said. That which does not kill you only makes you stronger. I'm not saying it's good people are oppressed. I'm just saying that per capita scientific development, per capita founding universities and businesses and inventions and just revolutionizing machine work, and I mean just all over the country, you would go to the black machinist and the black metal workers, and you would go to them. And there was definitely racism and fights and crazy stuff going on, and the Klan was like a mafia that would just kind of go around extorting everybody. That was after it was first set up at the end of the Civil War, when they had to cover the horses up and everything because there was Northern occupation. And then it was like a rebel force or whatever. But then, of course, everything turns into something very corrupt. That's how all this works. But it's so frustrating to actually know history, and then to see government come in the 50s and 60s with LBJ, and I'm not going to quote him here, all the racist quotes. They're well known, they're in letters, they're recorded, they're on record. You think the social engineers are dumb when they say, we're going to give you enough money to live every month, but you can't have a man in the house, and by the way, have as many kids as you can? So you'd have a nation of children raising children to be beta tested on by the government, with everything from diseases to cultural brainwashing, and now you see the weapon. That's sick. That's something that aliens would come up with. And I'm not saying they're really aliens. I just look at this, and it's like we're all fighting with each other. And it's real. If you're a white person walking down the street in Dallas and 3 black guys jump out when you're 15 years old and try to kill you, I guarantee you there isn't probably 1 out of 1 million black people out there that has been physically attacked by white people as many times as I've been attacked by racist black people. And I'm not some bleeding heart liberal. I am so glad that happened. I'm serious. I mean, that, because Dallas is a violent place, one of the most violent places in the country. Used to have more violence than Chicago. And I was a free-spirited person. I want to go off of these whole stories, but if a small percentage of black males are racist and killing each other, it's tribalism. Humans are tribal. Because you're wearing blue, you're wearing red. When I was in high school, you better not wear a red shirt or a blue cap or something. I mean, I'd be at a friend's house in the part of town, and the police pull over and say, get up against the car. What are you doing wearing this blue baseball cap? Well, it's a blue baseball cap, man. Well, that's a gang hat. Do I then hate police forever because of that? What I'm getting at here is, I'm going to your calls, there is psychological warfare going on. It's a fact, and you can buy into it, and then it seems real when you're under the mind control. It's mind control. And there's real elements to the mind control. But they're shocking you Pavlovianly to control you. And I'm telling you right now, the most racist people I've ever been around are liberals. In New York and Chicago at events or in college or wherever, you'll be sitting there with them, and all of a sudden they'll start saying racist stuff, and I'm like, is this some test or something? Because I'm not into this. They're like, oh, well, no, blah, blah, blah. I mean, let me tell you, that's who they are. And they love managing and running everybody. That's why they accuse libertarians and stuff that are against all this of being white saviors and all this. Because, see, they're the ones being a white savior. I don't want to save anybody but your freedom. I just want you left alone, live your own life, free association, be with who you want, do with what you want. Just don't screw me over. See how that works? And then if I like your music, or I like how you cook, or I like the science you have, or I like hanging out with you, or I like your jokes, then you'll be my friend. But it isn't this whole force thing that's actually creating more division. And I know I'm on a rant about this now. It's just that I know the Democratic Party in the South. And they're the weirdest bunch of people you've ever seen. They are the Ku Klux Klan. They are the Dixie Mafia. They run the show still. A lot of them are Republicans now. Rick Perry. That guy went to a KKK